Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearthstone 4! New Orders America, let's continue on for last left off. Kennedy is dead! Thurmond is currently the leader of the... Right, break on Guadong. Is currently the leader of the United States. We'll see how this goes. I have no idea, to be honest. Now, I don't even know if we'll actually be able to finish this tree. Before the election of 72. I guess before January, right? Because again, that's when this would flip. So let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 focuses total. 21 days for most of them. So 13, about a year, let's say. So we should theoretically be able to finish this. Assuming, because I don't think there'll be another crisis. I don't think there's anything else we really are too concerned with. Shoot. 1970. We can go with automatic support weapons. It's a 73 tech. We're in late 71. I think it seems reasonable, all things considered. And what do you want? Champion American victories. Well, don't mind if I do. 45 political power on that one. Is Siberia going... I think you're going to win, man. Then we'll probably see the Omsk versus Novosibirsk war. They're like right next to each other as well. Very interesting developments going on in Russia. Okay, let's console the people. Let's go straight to cement his legacy. We'll go there first and foremost. Because again, here's the thing, right? The progressives are by far the least popular. Like, nobody in the NPP likes the nationalist, right? They're not popular anywhere. The RDC, you know, it's more split 50-50, more support for the Democrats. Like, the American people are... progressive overall right now. Setting up the board. The first few days were a somber matter. As the nation mourned their lost president, President Thurmond found himself quietly meeting with the pact's upper crust to handle the formal matters of the succession. Meeting after meeting saw tense discussion between himself and the wary remnants of Bobby's coalition, who saw him as a threat to everything the young Kennedy had worked for. If he was to accomplish anything, Thurmond realized, these idealists would all have to go. First, he would need a vice president to serve as his side. A brief assessment of candidates would prove him an obvious answer. Maxwell Taylor, distinguished former Air Force Marshal, distinct military advisor to the United States government for at least a decade, and most crucially of all, a notorious rubber stamp and yes man to whoever was in charge. Thurmond saw two excellent qualities in Taylor. He was apolitical enough to avoid disgusting Bobby's old clique, and was servile enough to do whatever the hell he wanted him to. Plus, military background would no doubt appeal to the Patriots. Wrangling the pact to accept his choice would prove to be a lot easier than expected. The men in Washington were so desperate for stability in such a strange and shocking time that his choice was quickly approved and confirmed by all the relevant committees. With Vice President Taylor now at his side, ready to do whatever needed to be done to set America back on track, Thurmond gazed with confidence towards the rest of the for the rest of the struggle to come. Okay, so that's just cheaper aircraft, which I mean, sure. This will be a controversy that'll follow the NPP for 8 weeks, affecting coalition unity by 25%. What is the current unity? Turbulent times. Currently is waning at 52%. I'm very curious to see how the 72 elections go. The fact Kennedy's dead. The fact that that Thurmond isn't popular. Nobody likes him. Is... I have to imagine the RDC is going to win the election. That's my guess right now, is that we're going to see an RDC victory. Chances are the progressives are going to probably get the nomination for the 72 election. Because again, they're just popular. It doesn't make any sense to go for the nationalist leader. Like I don't see a way that they could possibly win anything. Nobody in the NPP likes them. 7 days for you. Fake neutrality. The pact has yet not fallen. More leadership approval for the nationals and the progressives. Rally the legislators. Stack the bench. Good behavior they have not. Court's been rearranged to our favor. Advanced anti-submarine helis. Now the thing is, again, how I want to play anytime we play the New Order, right? Or any really story-based playthrough is if we're not is that I want to play as who's in charge, right? Because we're now playing as Storm Thurmond. I'm going to do things that he would do. I'm not going to keep going progressive just because that's what we've been up to this point. We are going to we're going to do like what he would do, for better or for worse. Get you in here. Thurmond addresses the nation. My fellow Americans, we stay today on a precipice. The assassination of our president and vice president so soon after the felling of another has quite reasonably shocked our nation to the core. And I assure you that I understand your uncertainty and fears in a difficult time. But now is not the time for petty bickering or ideological opportunism. Now is the time for all of us to come together. As Americans, restore a country to greatness. A greatness born of tried and true American tradition, justice and dignity that may have wavered over the years, but now can be reborn anew. So let us put aside our scuffles and work united to move past this awful tragedy together. Today, President Thurmond addressed the nation to appeal to the calm in the midst of the continued anxiety over the assassination and consternation over his radical shift of the government. Though his speech failed to calm down his more vocal opponents, many polls suggested his speech was met with approval by much of the general public. Some have come to see the president as a maternal figure attempting to steer America out of an impossible position, and that his more questionable actions were a simply necessary measure to stabilize the country in a time when stability was needed the most. So who do we have here? I mean, again, our ministers are still the progressives. A new cabinet, I'm assuming, is going to be replacing those ministers. Okay, what do we want to take? 1980, way too expensive. What support companies do we have? Are we behind in any of those guys? Maybe we could, oh yeah, we're behind on all of them. Oh, we haven't even done any of this stuff. I haven't even noticed. Okay. And that is fine for us. We'll get our new technologies. We'll be happy with our new technologies. We're going to cement his legacy. Fake neutrality, more stability. Increases free press and multi-party systems. I guess it depends, right? Like, the closer you are to the 72 election when Kennedy gets assassinated, or I guess the 68 election as well, the less you can actually do. Because he died, like, at just the right amount of time to allow us to completely fill up his tree is interesting, right? Like, if he died in, like, October of 72, this whole tree would be different, right? He would not be able to do, undermine the regressive nature of the United States to the same way. Okay, cement his legacy. Then we're going to go for fake neutrality. Again, it doesn't really matter what order we do these in, because we're going to do all of them eventually anyways. The drawer. Storm Thurmond had sat down at the desk in the president's side office to get some work done, only to find that the bottom left drawer was the most uncooperative example thereof that he'd ever dealt with in his life. He checked that the other drawers were not broken. Then he struggled over to the bottom left side of the drawer again for another minute. It didn't work. Finally, he physically pulled out the drawer and was pushed back into his seat by the force of which it came free. Looking inside, he saw a document written by his predecessor's hand, including a piece of paper in the president's letterhead. Thurmond read it more closely. It seemed to be a note to Kennedy's successor as the president. He knew that Bobby Kennedy hadn't made any complete plans on the matter, so it came as no surprise to him that there was no name next to the word dear at the top of the note. But the rest of it struck Thurmond as few things did. If you're reading this, I am out of the office. I may be dead or just retired. Some of it was scribbled out. You can be certain that I have every faith that you will do right by the American people and fulfill the legacy that I have left behind. More things were scratched out below, and what was left was the same uplifting kind of talk. Storm Thurmond sat back down and shook his head. He never liked Bobby Kennedy, but what man would not feel pity seeing something like this? After a few seconds of quiet grief, wherein a slight tinge of something akin to guilt was replaced with an increasing sense of responsibility, Thurmond resolved himself. He went out of his office and grabbed a hold of the first A that he saw. Get me a hold of President Robert F. Kennedy's belongings. Okay, so what do we want to do? Naval support. No, go back in here. Let's upgrade our air assaults a little bit more. And I wonder, like, what kind of pushback are we going to maybe see for Thurmond? Because if you remember when JFK died, that the lame duck presidency of, I don't even remember the dude's name, was that nobody really respected his authority because nobody really knew what was happening. I wonder if that same thing is going to happen to Thurmond with this. Preparing a send-off. With the go-ahead given to repair the President Kennedy's memorial, proposals have been laid out before all relevant parties. 2 primary concepts have been accepted as the likeliest candidates, and await presidential approval before being given the green light. The first proposal is for a memorial monument to be built in his name. Exact specifics of the memorial are yet to be determined. It could be a library, a statue like Lincoln's, perhaps some modern art, but it would be costly. But the costings have been set up by priority financiers. While expensive, it would hardly break the bank, and would be more than a suitable farewell to Bobby and his legacy. Proposal for some was a more starry-eyed members of the Kennedy's old clique has come forward, suggesting that the day be set aside as a national holiday in commemoration for his life and death. Though Thurmond's own circle have scoffed at such a seemingly excess, and most certainly more expensive measure, a grand gesture of resemblance could be exactly what was needed to unite the country, still reeling from Kennedy's death. You know what? Let's have a new holiday. We have so much political power. I don't even remember what day he died. Does anybody want to look up what day that was? If it was like a Sunday or a maybe a Monday. Probably was a Wednesday, knowing Kennedy. Of course, he wants a holiday in the middle of the week. That scoundrel. Okay. We're still looking good on all of you. Key poverty is looking great. How is... Anyway, it's still going down. Still about 14% as far as I can tell. It's kind of hard to see. Oh, no, it's actually down below 13%. It's almost at 12 now, which is very, very nice. In their droves, Americans from all over came to the capital to pay their respects. Tens of thousands gathered after the sundown at the National Mall for a candlelight visit in memory of President Kennedy. Among them were major figures of the progressive NPP and some from other factions. The families of the Kennedys and the Vice President Guy, as well as other military figures. Foreign dignitaries and so many others who were simply ordinary people would come to grieve and offer condolences. Also among them, putting aside his plans and ambitions for the night, was President Thurmond. Walking up amongst the people, talking to a few, Thurmond expressed his deepest sadness for the loss of Kennedy, in spite of the many differences in opinion held between them, and spoke at length of the respect that he had for the man in spite of everything. In conclusion of weeks of mourning and numbness for the people of America, who would see the dawn of a new day, as the mourners returned to their homes, many had, in spite of themselves, developed a newfound respect for President Thurmond, who was willing to offer genuine dignity to a fallen political rival. What is our base? What is our stability actually at? Because of course it caps at 100%. Home front effect 0.2. It actually seems kind of crazy. March of Suriname. On the third passover, the royal compound of the Dutch Aruba, the pilot of Gerard Dawson's unmarked helicopter concluded that the palace had no suitable had no space suitable for a landing for such a large aircraft. Dawson, the CIA's chief for Parambio, asked what alternative would be if they couldn't land. We returned to Oranjestad, offered the pilot, or you could take a dip. Without hesitation, Dawson began strapping himself into a life jacket and pointing the pilot towards the yacht berthing. Once the helicopter was low enough, Dawson hopped into the rotor with waters and began swimming to shore amid the torrents. Once he had waded onto the ground, a CIA agent caught sight of his contacts, Prince Bernhard and the cohort of the Royal Army generals. One car ride and a warm shower later, Dawson was with a group slipping a port wine to the nearby veranda when General Frans van der Van Bocht an ugly request. As you know, the estates of Suriname have recently voted for Suriname's independent referendum, said the general through his cigarette pursed lips, and we want to stop it. Snickers and glass clinking filled the air. These old kingpins of just reaction held Suriname autonomy in contempt and sought American support in securing the kingdom's future. The Estates of Suriname was de facto a legal parliament in the Netherlands, and thus American involvement in overthrowing the OFN member government would violate the OFN's charter. Conversely, an independent Suriname would certainly exist outside the OFN. Dawson mulled for request and the implication. I'll pass it along. So what can we do? Foreign policy decisions. That's going to be here, presumably. No. Prevent independence of Suriname. A 100% chance of success. Okay, sure, do it. Because Suriname... I mean, Suriname is Suriname. But they are effectively the Dutch government, right? Like, they're like the Dutch government in exile. We'll see how it goes, I mean, we're gonna do it one way or the other. I think Thurmond would probably do it. We don't have enough hawkishness. Could spend more money to get more support here, but honestly, I don't know if that's really even necessary. So West Siberia, are you going to annex Finland? They might. That might be their long-term goal here. Okay, so you're basically all finished. So we're just going to keep going from, field hospital. Sounds great. Get that going. How are you guys looking? How's the economy looking? For the macro, GDP growth is 21 out of 56 powered states. I mean, it is very expensive. It was what, 45,000 points? Something like that. Okay, fake neutrality. Details on you. Follow this up with sowing the seeds. I mean, the political power is okay. The stability is still nothing to even think about. Hey, what am I going to do with the stability? Really nothing. It does not. It's not really for us. Okay, strengthen pro-American sentiment, because again, that will give us 40 political power, I think. So I will not say no to you. Nothing I care about going on in Russia at this point. I mean, you're all pretty good. You're all looking pretty good. Now, are they able to push their way into Finland? 54 divisions. 34. I think Omsk. I think they're going to be the ones that unify Russia. That's kind of how I feel right now is going to be the case. Which does worry me. I don't know if they're going to nuke the planet, but like, can you really reasonably trust them? I can't. Like, I think they're a bunch of little freaks. Okay, so you're still looking. Okay, I don't like even keep clicking in here. There's literally nothing in the decision tree for me to actually look at. We're just making our way down here, and then afterward, of course, we'll do the company man. I guess the 1973 election, the 1972 election will happen, right? Following the 1972 election, this should still be here. I don't think this tree is going to go away when the election is done, but I mean, it might. Okay, Operation Success, that was for, okay, let's call up Russell. Because that's for American sentiment. Let's bolster up American business interest in the region. Binding the pact. In this dangerous time for America, there can be no room for discord and selfish bickering within our ranks. Our pact must walk together in lockstep. I promise that under my leadership, this party will be more unified than it ever was before, and I'm willing to use all necessary measures to ensure that our values, American values, are defended and enshrined. In a rousing speech delivered to the assembled NPP caucus, President Thurmond vowed to fight for the pact against all struggles, both without and within. Denouncing the historical fractured nature of the NPP, he's declared that under his command, the pact will move forward with one clear, decisive, and American agenda. His remarks were met with enthusiastic acclaim by his fellow nationalist associates. From the sidelines, progressives looked on with more steadily growing dread. They knew not how far President Thurmond might be willing to go to unite the pact under one agenda, his agenda. Through their muted but polite applause, they looked to one another and wondered how long their dreams for a fair America can endure under such a new leader. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see, right? Pact's not fallen. Again, I'm still surprised that, like, the leadership approval, like, there was never a time to do this while playing Kennedy. There was never any event that bolstered approval for the progressives. It was a ticking down to 1% month after month forever, unless you're spending the 45 political power. There's really no other choice there. Okay, the presidential election has begun. The long way to November. This is interesting. You know, we'll go NPP, because I think the RDC is going to become more powerful this time around. What's the current prediction? The Nationalists are predicted to lose another 6 seats. 5 seats for the Republicans, 1 for the Democrats. Like, again, the Nationalists are not popular. People do... Actually, where's Thurmond? I actually don't... Does it actually say who, Does it say who the senators are? It doesn't. It doesn't at all. I'm actually... Okay. Actually, I'll ask this question at the beginning of the next episode, because that's when I'm more likely to get an answer. But for now, I think we're going to end the episode, so thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, remember thumbs up. Not enjoyed, you can leave some down. Okay, bye.